What's going on, Lego Maniacs? It's Ty, the Lego guy here, and welcome to another Q&A. We're actually in Ty's Talks episode 20, so we're moving right along. This one had a lot of good questions, including the oldest Lego set in my collection, licensed or non-licensed themes, along with what's my favorite non-licensed themes. A lot of licensed theme questions in this Q&A, which is good, along with a bunch of other questions. You guys had tons, which is really awesome. Anyways, this one should get interesting. And again, guys, if you have questions for next Ty's Talks, just leave them in the comments and we'll get to them in episode 21. But enough talk, let's get right into it. And our first question comes to us from LASIK, and he asks, what is the oldest Lego set you have in your collection? So it's probably going to be the Robo Guardian or the Enchanted Island. They're both from 1994. Awesome sets, a lot of nostalgia for them. I'd say those are probably the oldest ones in my collection. General Kenobi's Art asks, what is your favorite original theme, not licensed? Do you have the Lego Death Star? And who is the best Star Wars character in your opinion? So for non-licensed, I have to go with the adventurer theme. Castles, pirates, Wild West all came to mind as well, original space, but adventure is just so awesome because you have a mix of like really old stuff, thousands of years old, like the Temple of Anubis, plus you have like 1920s type vehicles. As far as if I own a Lego Death Star, I own the UCS one from 2005 or 4, I want to say. And my favorite character from Star Wars is going to be actually you, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's someone that always does what's right despite the odds. He has everything going against him, but he always tries to do what he thinks, is the right thing to do, and I just really appreciate that. Karma Link comes in with a heated question, and he says, what are the best Lego sets in your opinion, licensed or non-licensed sets? The one you don't choose stops production and it's taken off shelves. Okay, you gave me a hard one, but I'm probably, as much as I love Lego Star Wars and I love Lord of the Rings, I'm going to go with non-licensed just because, that's really what makes Lego. That's what they had for the, 40 years before they actually ever had licensed themes. Like I said, Adventurers, Castle, Pirates, OG Space, Wild West, you can't beat those. If it means those or maybe Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, I'm gonna go with non-licensed, but it's a really, really difficult choice. Liberty County Sheriff's Office asks, what is your favorite Lego Pirate set? This one's difficult. I really like the brand new Barracuda Bay. I think that's just an awesome set, but I'm probably gonna go with the 2010 Imperial Flagship. That's just such a beautiful model, and it's probably the largest or one of the largest ships they've ever made, at least for the pirate theme. I'm gonna go with that one, but that's a really difficult question, but yeah, probably the 2010 Flagship. George Harrison says, what theme of Lego do you have the most sets in? So I originally thought that it was Lego System, which is basically all the 80s and 90s Lego sets. I believe even some early 2000s, but it's probably gonna be Lego Star Wars. I've been collecting it since 1999, and I think that it takes the cake. Andrea asks, do you think Lego could also make a new version of the Imperial Flagship? Unfortunately, the price of the old 10210 set has reached impossible price. It's hard to say. Sometimes I think maybe Lego needs to maybe take a look at what sets are going for on the aftermarket, just because that set, like you said, is going for crazy prices. I hope that they eventually give us an Imperial Flagship. I think with the success of the Barracuda Bay, they definitely see that there's a lot of pirate fans out there. We'll see if it happens. Basically, my answer would be if Lego does some research, they will. If they don't, then they won't. But I really hope that we get a remake as well. Commander Cody Productions says, what is your favorite Lego Technic set, and what was the first Technic set you have owned? So surprisingly, I've actually never owned any Technic sets. However, there's one set I really, really, really want, and it's the 2000 Technic Lego Droideka, or like Destroyer Droid. I would love to get my hands on that set. It's just going for so much money, but that's by far my favorite. The play feature for that as well is just amazing. Like, it actually unfolds like it does in the movie. That's my favorite one, and I hope to get it one of these days. I just have to find it for the right price. Alpha Bricks channel says, in a previous room tour video, you showed some die-cast model cars and said you like model cars. Lego does model cars too, like Speed Champions and big creator cars. But as far as I know, you have never done any reviews of Lego model cars. Why? Don't you like the Lego model cars? Okay, so this is a good one. I actually just recently did a review on one of the Speed Champion sets, so I do like that theme. I'm just getting into it. One of the things that I'm kind of wary with doing with Lego is getting into other themes just because it costs a lot of money. And once you get into that new theme, you eventually want them all. So that's why I've been a little hesitant to get into them, but I do like that theme, and I hope to do more reviews on at least the Speed Champion theme. Built by the Brick says, few questions. What got you into Lego? How many minifigures do you think you have? And who is your favorite YouTuber? So the first question is probably going to be my parents. They were the ones that bought me a Lego set, I believe, when I was like 3, and I just fell in love with Lego since then. As far as my favorite YouTuber, it's going to be the Viper. He's an Age of Empires streamer, and he's just really, really funny. And how many Lego minifigures I have? It's anywhere from about 3,000 to 5,000. I'm really not sure. I should count them, but it's definitely in the thousands. That would actually be an interesting video to do. But yeah, good questions, and I might need to do a little bit more research on the minifigure one. Wyatt Builds says, what's a set that you want a remake of? Hopefully I haven't repeated this question from other people or myself. So I don't believe anyone's ever asked this, and I'm probably gonna go, I was originally gonna go with Adventurers, like the Temple of Anubis. I think that the pieces available, they could make so many amazing adventure sets nowadays with the pieces we have. But I'm probably gonna go with the Eldorado Fortress. That would be awesome if they gave us a nice big Imperial fort. It's difficult, but I think that's the one I'd choose. I definitely would love a remake of that set. Joggles says, sorry if this question has already been asked, but just wondering what your least favorite Lego theme set. So the question has been asked before, but I'm okay answering again. It's probably going to be Galador. I just absolutely hate that theme. I think it's the worst. There's a couple others that come to mind, like Fabuland, but I'm probably going to go with Galador. KB Lego Productions has a really good question. He asks, what is a set with your favorite play features? This can be one play feature that is just amazing or a bunch of play features from the same set. So I had to think about this one. The bank from the Wild West theme back in 1996 is actually really, really good. There's a bunch of dynamites that you can stick into a carriage and it blows it up. You can stick it into the bank, it blows it up. But the other one that's really, really good is the Temple of Anubis. That's part of the reason I really like that set. There's all these booby traps on it. And there's also this little feature where you can like take the magnet and you can flip the trap door with it, but it's kind of like it has some sort of magical power to it, basically, how it kind of works. Probably the Temple of Anubis. It's really difficult, but that's a great question. And I think that set just it was such a good set and has so much potential again for a remake. I really hope Lego eventually does it, but yeah, I'm gonna go with the Temple of Anubis. Jawa says, what Star Wars sets do you think or expect Lego to make next year? So this is a really tricky one just because Lego tends to kind of do whatever they want. However, they also like to do themes like they like to revisit a Star Wars movie every 20 years or every 10 years. And if they're to follow that logic, I think that we'll be getting at least a couple to maybe like 5, maybe up to 5, 6 Attack of the Clones sets. I'd be all for that. And then we would get the ATTE like you'd like. I'd love a remake of that as well. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think 2022, don't quote me on that, but I think 2022 could have a lot of Attack of the Clones sets, and it would be awesome just because that's probably the least, it's one of the films from Star Wars that they've represented the least in Lego form. Dressman G asks, what's your favorite castle factions? I'm going to go with Forestmen. I absolutely love that castle theme. And then probably like the Lion Knights are also pretty cool. There's a number of other really good ones, but probably Forestmen. I really hope that we get a Forestmen theme, it returns, because the only one we ever got was back in the 90s, but that by far is probably my favorite castle faction. JH says, what are your top 5 Lego Adventurers and Lego Pirates sets? Okay, so that's a tricky one, but just off the top of my head, I'm gonna go with the Temple of Anubis, the Amazon Ancient Ruins, the River Expedition set, the Sphinx, and the Dragon Fortress. For Pirates, I'm going to go with the Imperial Flagship, Barracuda Bay, the Imperial Trading Post, Enchanted Island, and last but not least, the Eldorado Fortress. Those are all amazing sets, and I hope to own all of them, but unfortunately they're very expensive. But yeah, all awesome, great sets. Ninja Ozzy says, what will you do when you get to episode 100 of Ty's Talks? So I have not thought that far into the future, but probably something special. I'm really not sure. Actually, if you have a suggestion or if you guys have suggestions for what it should be, leave it in the comments. But yeah, it will definitely be something to be celebrated. Yeah, I'm really not sure. Jordan asks, what is your subscribers goal by the end of the year? Okay, so that's a good question. It's good to have goals. I really haven't set up a for sure goal of what I'd like, but maybe, I don't know, 4,500 subs. I think that would be a good goal. We'll see if it happens, but yeah, let's just say that and see what the next couple months bring. DC Videos says, is there a Lego set that you were so hyped to get and later realized after getting it and building it, it's not very good? So this is a really good question. I had to think about it. I'm probably gonna go with the Betrayal at Cloud City. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that set's actually pretty good, but I had a lot of hype getting into it. And then when I built it, I'm like, okay, it has some really good minifigures. It's a cool looking set, but it just didn't live up to it. Mainly, I think, is because it's difficult to make that set look great on display just because there's so many different rooms going on. But that's probably it. Don't get me wrong, I'm still happy to own it, but I do think it may be a little bit overrated. I think it gets way too much hate though. I think it is a decent set, but yeah, it was like a 10 when I got it, and then when I built it, it was like an 8. So still decent, but just not quite a 10. Calvin MX says, so far, which is your most favorite Lego plane? I'm going to go with the Indiana Jones plane. It's the one where they're basically like Nazis and they have that really cool looking, I think it's a bomber or something. That's a really cool set. That's probably my favorite that they've ever made. There's some other good sets out there, but I'm probably gonna go with that plane. I just think it looks really cool, and hopefully one of these I'm able to get it, because I definitely would like to have that set in my collection. Easkrillix says, how to date with Legos, i.e. break the ice off the Legos and learning to live with a significant other with the collection. Okay, so I don't think you're gonna have, I thought this one was funny, by the way, but I don't think you'll have issues really with the dating process. Just don't talk a whole bunch about Lego if that's not what she's into, because you want to find something you guys are both mutually interested in. As far as if you guys were to live, if you live together, I would really recommend you guys have at least like a 3-bedroom apartment or house or something, because you're gonna wanna have a room just to keep all that Lego. Then she's happy because it's not everywhere. So basically I'd recommend having a room dedicated to Lego. If that were to happen, that's at least how I think you should best handle it. But I don't know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's definitely a tricky one. Transformer JH asks, have you built the UCS Imperial Shuttle or any of the Sith arts? Second question, what does Lego mean to you in the building process? So I've actually not built any of those. I would love to get my hands on the UCS Imperial Shuttle though. I built all the minifig scale models, except for the latest one being the 2021 model. And the Lego building process to me, if I'm understanding what you're asking, that's an important part of a Lego set. Like, for me, that's a way that I can unwind and kind of relax by like building a Lego set or maybe building a mock. So it's almost therapeutic, almost in a way. So yeah, I feel that the building process is very important. It makes up about 50% of the set. And then once you have it built, that's the other 50%, stick it on display. But yeah, building process is definitely high up there, at least in my books. And our last question comes to us from the Rob, and he asks, how old are you? So I'm not going to give you my exact age, but I will say that I am a millennial and I was born in the 1990s. So I'm anywhere from 22 to 31. That's as specific as I'm going to get answering that question. But yeah, good one. And anyways, guys, that pretty well does the episode. But if you liked it, leave it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing and click that bell so you're notified for any future Q&As. We do one of them every month and they're a lot of fun. You guys have all kinds of different things that you guys ask. And again, if you have a question for next Ty's Talks, just leave them in the comments and we'll get to them in episode 21. But yeah, that's all I got for you again. But thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.